Hi everyone, welcome to another video. My name is T and today I'm going to show you how to make some fried seafood. You're going to need some beer, some black pepper, some red pepper flakes, garlic powder, onion powder, Badia complete seasoning, Lawrys all-purpose, and some Sazon. You're also going to need some rosemary and thyme. That's not mandatory, and you'll put it at the very end after everything is fried. The flour is not in the shop, but you definitely need that. This video is going to be in 3 parts. The first part is the cleaning, the second part is the seasoning, and the third part is the frying. Alright y'all, so right now I'm going to show you how to dismantle the lobster tails and the king crab legs. The first thing we're going to do is cut the little fins off the bottom of the lobster. Next, we're gonna split down the middle of the lobster tail. If you see anything in there, take it out. Cut the ends off of the tail just so you can have a cleaner look. And when I say take things out, I mean like the vein. You know, you don't want that in there when you fry it. So then, to make the lobster taste nice and neutral, we're gonna put some lemon juice on it. So it tastes nice and you know, clean tasting. You want this a flavor, not off tasting flavor. Alright, so now we're gonna just, you know, clean up the king crab leg. So we're gonna break it up and fry it, because if you're frying it at home, you don't need to have the big pieces like I have in my video. And it makes it easier fry too. You know what I'm saying? You don't need such a big pot if you cut it up like this. So just, you know, slice it down the side them so that you don't break the meat. And when you pull out the meat, it has some fat on it. Take it off. I don't know if a fat or what is on it, but just take it off, okay? If you leave that on it, it's gonna give the crab legs an off-putting taste. Please don't leave it on it. And then, of course, spray the lemon on it and make it sit. Okay, on to lobster number 2. We're gonna do this one a little bit different. So after we cut off the fin them and cut the tail, split the lobster, there's a muscle in the back of the lobster that stops it from curling up. For this one, we're gonna cut that muscle. Keep watching so you can see what I'm saying. Okay, so I'm talking about this part. You're gonna use your scissor and slice down that muscle and that membrane. That's gonna help it from not curling up. For me, I didn't do it as deep as I should have. So you can do it a little bit deeper and it'll keep the lobster really straight when you fry it. That makes an easier fry. Now I learned this trick on Quantran's YouTube channel, and that's also where I learned to do the beer batter as well. Of course, if you go over there, you'll see that mine's a little bit different because I season mine and my preparation is slightly different, but it's a really good recipe. Alright, so I'm gonna just do the rest of this off camera. I'm gonna rinse the stuff off and then we're gonna continue. Alright guys, so everything is washed and now I'm just gonna dry them. And then once I dry the lobster tails, I'm gonna squeeze the liquid from the crab leg. If you don't do that, your king crabs are gonna be soggy once you fry them, okay? So you wanna get as much moisture out as possible. Now, please wash the lobster and the crab once you cut the shells, because the shards are going to be on it and you don't want to bite into that. It's like cracking an egg and have the shell in there. That's not good. Okay, so for this big clump of meat right here, we're gonna make a little crab cake patty with it, okay? That's gonna be my favorite part. So much meat, so filling. That's probably gonna be the most filling piece in this batter. Okay, y'all, so the only thing I'm gonna put on this is some Lawrys Seasoning salt, and then I'm gonna put some black pepper on it, and that is it. Everything else, all the other seasonings will go into the batter. Stay tuned. Alright, y'all, so now we get to the second step in our process. This part is what we've been waiting for. So we're gonna make a dry batter and we're gonna make a wet batter. So we need two batters for this, right? The dry batter, I'm gonna season it, and the wet batter, I'm just gonna put some Sazón in it for coloring. So that's what the beer is for. I usually end up using 2 beers to get to the right consistency. About 1.5 to 2 beers depending on how much batter I want, right? I would say definitely use a whisk for this part. It helps to get all the lumps out. I didn't get all my lumps out and it still came out fine, so maybe you don't need one. It's up to you, really. So as you can see, I kept adding more beer and more flour until I get the right consistency. Now honestly, when I watched Quantran's recipe, I didn't follow his consistency. I kind of, decided what I wanted it to be. And y'all, so I'm not big on frying. If you know me, you know that I'm not big on frying. I'm not a great fryer. So what I did was I found a recipe that kind of worked for me. I'm a non-frying ass. So I found that the beer batter is not complicated. It's easy to get a crispiness and it's delicious. So that's why I'm using it. So I don't know if he did measurements. I don't remember. I haven't seen the recipe in a long time. But I pretty much I judged it by eye. And then I'm like, I think I want it to be like a light pancake batter consistency, right? So that's what I'm going for here. Alright, y'all, so the first thing I'm gonna do is put Sazón into both batters. Now, I learned this trick from my mom. When you use Sazón when you're frying, it gives you a nice golden color. So I'm gonna end up putting 2 Sazón packets into the dry batter, just because it's harder to show up in a dry batter. And then I'm gonna put 1 packet into the wet batter for color. It's not gonna overpower the batter, so don't worry. And Sazón tastes good, so if you taste a little bit, I don't know. Then we're gonna proceed with the garlic and the other seasonings. Okay guys, so if you don't want to use Sazón, you can use Saffron as well, because all we want is some color, right? So Saffron it's expensive, but if you have that and you want to use it, use that. So even though I like the flavor of rosemary and habaneros, this is completely optional, okay? And this goes at the end after it's fried, you put it on top. Right now, I'm just making sure I give this a thorough mix so that all the seasonings can be combined in the flour and be evenly distributed, okay? That's very important. Alright y'all, so the third and the last best part, it's time to fry. So we're gonna take the lobster tail and we're gonna dip it into the wet batter first, okay? So you dip it into the wet batter and then you shake the excess off. You don't want it to clump up too much. So you shake the excess off and then you dip it into the dry batter. Please make sure that you dip it in the dry batter for the second step so it could keep that nice crunchiness, okay? Alright, so we're going to repeat the same step for the rest of the lobster and the rest of the king crab. If you want the king crab and the lobster to appear bigger in size, or if you want more batter on it, just do a double dip. So after you put it in the flour, you're going to put it back in the wet batter and then put it back in the flour again. And then you have a bigger size fried product, okay? But not lie, I was definitely in the kitchen doing what I do best. I'm so proud of this recipe. I think it turned out so well. Please try it and let me know what you think, okay? Tag me or at me and I'll definitely repost you. Look how golden and crunchy the seafood look. Y'all, shout out to my mom for telling me to put Sazon in the flour because you can't get this nowhere else, okay? So make sure to try the recipe and tell me what you think. You see how everything is so beautiful. I'm so glad I made this. Thank you for asking me for the recipe. I had a good time making it. Next week I'm going to show you how to make the Alfredo sauce. Stay tuned for the mukbang so you can see the crunch and how this tastes. You'll see my reaction to this fried seafood. See you guys next video. Later.